I am famous for having a very long, very detailed morning routine. So I don't know how much time we want to dedicate to this, but I will say that my routine has changed a little bit since having my son, Levi, about 19, 20 months ago. And I have a little bit less time to myself than I used to because he wakes up every day at 7:30. So I try to get a few foundational pieces of my routine done before he wakes up. I'll wake up in the morning, I'll brush my teeth, I go downstairs, I bring the dog out. Now, an important part of bringing the dog out is actually grounding in sunlight. So I go out into the backyard with my shoes off. I feel the grass, I feel the earth on my bare feet.
It.
And in the corner of my backyard, over the fence and around my house is where the sun peeks through. So within 5 minutes of waking up, I get early sunlight exposure into my eyes. I try to look at the sun for as long as I can while I'm grounding, feed the dog, and then I go upstairs and I'll do a couple of different things depending on where I am in life and at what stage my routine has progressed or regressed. But I'll tell you about today. So today I sat down in front of my red light therapy device and I did 3 rounds of Wim Hof breathing, which is something that fluctuates with me. Sometimes I'll be really into it for a few months. Sometimes I'll trade it out for something else, just like silent meditation, which has been a big part of the last 10 years. I actually went and got certified, I guess, for transcendental meditation. So I did that for a long time. And so I change what type of mindfulness activities I do every morning. And then I'll do a little bit of journaling sometimes. Sometimes I'll answer a few emails. I'll get some reading done. But today, that's the very first couple of things that I do when I wake up in the morning.
I love it. I love it. You know, my book, the first chapter is connecting with the earth, you know, and everything you said, those are some of the key takeaways I talk about. And it's so important, you know, it's amazing just the basic things that we can do to change our life, you know, in terms of wellness. But I'm sure all of that really puts you in the present, right? Gives you that clarity for the day, because I think that just randomly beginning the day, you get just caught up, right, with all the just all the noise, right? And
yeah, I think so too. When I started my personal development journey about 10 years ago, I was an emotionally unintelligent person. And so I studied emotional intelligence. I wanted to have a little bit more control over what happens when an input enters my brain. Just that little fraction of a second where you either react or you choose a better option. And so I started meditating about 10 years ago. And I found that through meditation, through the different mindfulness activities and exercises that I've participated in over the last decade, I found a little bit more control. I have a little bit more of a choice in how I react. And that's also created a lot of presence in my life. I feel more at peace. I'm not worried about what's happening later in the day during my morning routine. I'm not worried about what happened yesterday during my morning routine. I'm in the moment. And I love being in the moment. That's where I feel at home. And so, yeah, it's important to start the day in control. Otherwise, if I just get thrown into the chaos, I mean, the rest of my day is going to be a mess. And I don't want that.
And, you know, Nick, from a neuroscience perspective, you know, they say that we have all these wonderful faculties, right? But we tend to, in this day and age, tend to bounce back between our memory and our imagination. We think about regrets of the past or anxieties of the future, but we never exercise our awareness of the present. And that's one thing I had to train, is stop playing ping pong between the past and the future, because you're always anticipating events. You know, I have this trip coming up next month and everything like that. So you're playing ping pong between the past and the future, but you're not aware of what is in front of you, you know.